Hey there, welcome back to the Wandering Reseller Treasure Hunt. I spend a lot of time traveling through California, Arizona, and Nevada hunting for treasures at estate sales, flea markets, antique malls, thrift stores, and auctions. I also pick up unique finds online from all over the country. I love sharing the stories behind the stuff I find. So let's take a look at what sold recently and where it's heading next. All right, here we go. Brenda Lee's Jingle Bell Rock Christmas CD from 1993. It's always a fun one to find because Brenda Lee is basically the queen of Christmas music. She recorded Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree when she was just 13 years old, and it's been a holiday favorite ever since. I love finding these kinds of pieces, especially around the holidays. Next up, this A Christmas Carol DVD from 1984, starring George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge. I've always heard people say this is one of the best versions of the story. George C. Scott nails the grumpy old Scrooge, and by the end, you can't help but feel that Christmas magic. It's a great one to pull out every December, and now it's heading off. Check this out, a vintage postcard of the honeymoon boat from Paw Paw Lake in Michigan. Back in the day, this boat was part of river trips that let people cruise the water and take in the views. It's such a cool little snapshot of history. I can imagine families and couples enjoying a slow, relaxing ride on the lake. Someone's going to love adding this piece of Michigan's past to their collection. Here's a unique one, a vintage golf ball marker from the Killarney Golf and Fishing Club in Ireland. It's got a cool metal design with the club's logo front and center. Killarney is one of those famous spots for golf, surrounded by beautiful scenery. I love finding pieces like this because it's not just a marker, it's a little connection to the history of the sport. Someone who loves golf or Irish memorabilia is going to be pretty happy to add this to their collection. Here's a neat find, a vintage matchbook from the Chief's Hut at the Poolside Reef Hotel in Waikiki Beach, Hawaii. Back in the day, places like this were hot spots for tourists looking to relax, enjoy the beach, and soak in that Hawaiian vibe. The artwork on these old matchbooks is always cool, and they've become pretty collectible over the years. Someone's going to love this little piece of Waikiki history. Here's the deal. A vintage Ricordo di Pesto postcard set with 12 beautiful cartoline from Paestum, Italy. These postcards showcase the stunning ancient Greek ruins and temples that Paestum is famous for. It's like stepping back in time, with each card capturing a piece of history and architecture. It's in great condition too, so someone's going to really enjoy this little treasure from Italy. This is a cool one, Christmas Renaissance cassette tape from 1987 by Richard Searles. It's filled with beautiful instrumental carols played on guitars, harpsichords, and other classical instruments. It has that old world holiday charm that's perfect for setting the mood during the Christmas season. Someone's going to love adding this to their collection or playing it to bring a little nostalgia to the holidays. Here's a classic, Buddy Rich Big Band Vemiskit Live Vintage Vinyl LP. Buddy Rich was a legend in the jazz world, known for his incredible drumming and high energy performances. This album captures the big band sound at its best, with that raw live feel you can only get from vinyl. Here's a special find, Music by the Masters, a vintage book from 1946 compiled by Russell E. Lanning. This collection features sheet music and compositions from some of history's greatest classical composers. It's not just music, it's a look into the artistry and creativity of the masters, perfect for musicians, collectors, or anyone who loves diving into the history of classical music. Here's a gem, Leave Her to Heaven, a Studio Classics DVD of the 1945 film starring Gene Tierney. This vintage movie is a stunning mix of drama and suspense, and it's in Technicolor, which makes the visuals absolutely pop. Gene Tierney's performance is unforgettable, and it's one of those classics that never gets old. Someone's going to enjoy adding this to their collection, or having a great movie night with a true Hollywood classic. Here's a piece of Hollywood history, The Spoilers, featuring John Wayne, Marlene Dietrich, and Randolph Scott. This vintage photo captures the spirit of the 1942 film, based on Rex Beach's famous novel. It's a classic tale of greed, gold, and gritty frontier life brought to life by some of the biggest stars of the era. A perfect collectible for fans of old westerns or vintage Hollywood memorabilia. Check this out, a vintage I Remember Elvis pinback button. It's a cool piece of memorabilia for fans of the King of Rock and Roll. These buttons were popular keepsakes, especially for those who grew up with Elvis's music. It's pre-owned and has that classic retro vibe, perfect for collectors or anyone who wants a little piece of Elvis history to show off. Here's a magical find, Disney's Sleeping Beauty soundtrack CD from Walt Disney Records. It features the iconic songs and orchestral music from the classic animated film. It's perfect for Disney fans who love reliving the story of Aurora, Maleficent, and those unforgettable melodies. Someone's going to enjoy this nostalgic piece of Disney magic. Here's a classic, Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious on DVD, starring Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman. This film is a masterpiece of suspense and romance, with Hitchcock's signature twists and turns. Cary and Ingrid's performances are legendary, and it's one of those movies that every classic film fan needs in their collection. Someone's in for a cinematic treat with this one. Here's a practical find, Michigan State Spartans sport utility gloves in classic green. These gloves are perfect for showing off your Spartan pride while working outdoors or tackling projects. They've got a no-slip grip, making them both functional and stylish for any MSU fan. Someone's going to love it. Here's a vintage gem, a glass ashtray from Macayo Mexican Restaurants. It's got that retro charm with locations listed like Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Scottsdale. Macayo's has been a favorite for Mexican food lovers for decades, and this ashtray is a great collectible for anyone who remembers dining there or loves vintage restaurant memorabilia. A true piece of Southwest history. Road and Track magazine from January 1999, featuring Honda's big surprise, the S2000. This issue dives into the details of, here's a cool find, a Hammerlund HQ150 communications receiver catalog, bulletin number APD 328. This vintage piece is packed with details about the features of the HQ150, like crystal calibrators and precision tuning. It's a great collectible for radio enthusiasts or anyone into the history of vintage communications equipment, perfect for adding to a ham radio collection. Here's a fascinating piece of history, PF Index magazine, January 1954, for the electronic service industry. This issue highlights the rise of color TV, which was cutting-edge technology at the time. It's amazing to think how this changed the way people experience entertainment. A great collectible for anyone into vintage tech or the evolution of electronics. A vintage 1980s Bally slot machine glass from Las Vegas. It's got the iconic 777 design, bringing back that classic casino vibe. This retired piece is a perfect collectible for anyone who loves vintage Vegas or the golden era of slot machines. It's a little slice of Sin City history that's sure to stand out in any collection. Thanks for joining me on the Wandering Reseller Treasure Hunt. If you love hearing the stories behind unique finds and following along on my treasure hunts, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. There's always something new to discover, and you won't want to miss what's next. See you on the next hunt.